Asalamualaikum all. Welcome back to my channel. I pray that you are all in the best of health and iman. If you are new, welcome. My name is Nafisa. I am a Muslim life coach and I support Muslim women with relationship and mental health issues. So if you're interested in that, then definitely make sure you check out my website. But over here on YouTube, I make Islamic lifestyles as well as dawah content. So if you're interested in that, then definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. So, my beautiful women, we are talking about how to build confidence as the women that we are. I think it's very, very, very important that we understand that our real and true confidence should come from who we believe we are in front of God. For me, that's really the base, that's the foundation. Because you can have confidence in all these different areas of life, but when it comes to your core, when it comes to fulfilling why you're here in this earth, if you don't have an understanding of that, or you're not working towards building yourself in that way, I think it will radiate into other areas of life and you find yourself also not being confident in all these other different areas of life. So my first tip for building confidence is to build your confidence in your relationship with God. At times in life, people will give you validations and at times they may not give you validations. Depending on where those people are in their lives, sometimes they may be also feeling confident and so they're willing to cheer you on. Or maybe they're willing to cheer you on and speak out and be verbal about what makes you stand out, give you that validation because they are in a good space or as long as you're not doing better than them. But also sometimes when you start doing better than some people, jealousy might come into their hearts and they may suddenly start switching the things that they're saying about you. So if you're waiting on validation from other people to make you feel confident, I feel like sometimes it can be good if it's coming from the right kind of people, but sometimes also there may come a time in your life where you feel like you're not getting enough validation and then your confidence will drop. But when it comes to God, when it comes to your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you knowing that He's going to be there for you no matter what. To me, when I think about where my confidence comes from at my core, is that I actually believe that Allah loves me. And some might be like, oh, you're a bit delusional, you have no proof. Let me tell you, I've had enough experiences in my life. That doesn't mean I've always gotten what I want when I wanted it, because there's been a lot of things that I've wanted when I wanted it. There's been a lot of goals set, not achieved. But there has also been a lot of things that Allah has done for me, from literally giving me life, from being there for me at times when I was at my lowest and nobody else was there for me. And specific things that I can remember in the timeline of my life where Allah has been there for me, despite my sins, despite how not so perfect I am, I cannot sit here and say Allah doesn't love me. And so because I feel loved by Him, and because I know that out of that love, He guided me to Islam and He showed me my purpose here on this earth, I believe that Islam is a gift. I'm very passionate. If you haven't been watching my videos from before, you might not know this, but I'm extremely passionate about my religion. It's not just my religion. It's a way of life that I love to embody and I love to live. Because for me, I feel like I have clarity about what I'm doing here on this earth. And I feel like I am also building for a hereafter where I'm looking forward to meeting my Lord. I'm hoping to be in a better place in my hereafter than what I am here. I'm fearful that I might not get to the position that I want to get to in the hereafter, but I'm hopeful and I'm trying. And I am okay knowing that I'm not perfect. And some of us, our lack of confidence is coming from this very high expectation that we set for ourselves. And another way, therefore, to build confidence is be careful not to set yourself up for the expectation that you are supposed to be perfect. Now, can there be different areas in life where you might be strong here, but you might also be weak here? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm confident. I have a lot of confidence in what I do. I'm a relationship and mental health coach. That's what I do. I'm very confident in that. I have good, I think, basic Islamic knowledge. I'm confident in that. But maybe put me in a like tajweed class with students who are much higher level. You might not find me so confident there. I will confidently try because I'm confident in trying. I believe in my ability to achieve, that I can also always do a little bit more to improve. But I'm not going to be as confident in those specific areas of life because I'm not a perfect human being and I'm not good at everything. And I'm okay with not being good at everything. Like, I stay in my lane. I stay in my lane. But when it comes to exploring and things I want to improve upon, I'm okay. I'm open to putting myself in difficult positions, which we'll talk about later on, because that's also another way to build confidence. But going back to my point, you have to be a confident person. You have to instill it. It has to be a disposition where it's just what you believe you are. It's difficult to teach people confidence if people just don't believe that they have value. If you don't believe that you have any value, if you just don't believe that you're good at anything, it will be difficult for your confidence to come through and show. So it all begins with the belief. And the belief begins with the thoughts. Now I'm going to therapy mode now. But you have to challenge your thoughts and your thinking. And then challenge your beliefs. And then once you adopt those things, then the outward result that you see is confidence. Because actually now I do believe that I'm good at this. I do believe that these are my strengths. I do believe that these are my weaknesses. I know that I'm good at this, but I know that I can improve this. And so you just go for it. So having said all of those abstract concepts, onto some practical things you can do to improve self-confidence in terms of like behavioral things you can do. Number one thing I would say is try not to always be apologizing for things. People who don't have a lot of self-confidence tend to apologize for things that they're not even supposed to be apologizing for. So every second it's, I'm so sorry for that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, I'm so sorry. So you don't need to apologize for things like that. Use I'm sorry for things that are genuinely your fault. And again, I know that may be coming from a very skewed perception that you think things are always your fault. It can also come across as people pleasing, because a lot of people who people please like to apologize a lot and take responsibilities a lot for things that happen, and also come across as, you're someone who has low self-esteem. So try to avoid the constant apologizing that comes along with the things that you say to people oftentimes. So this is going to require you to be a little bit more self-conscious and analyze yourself a little bit more in terms of how you communicate with people. If you often use I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, limit that and just only use I'm sorry for things that you're genuinely a part of or cause for, that is then therefore bringing harm to someone else, so that word is very valuable and it doesn't come across needy, people-pleasing, low self-esteem and all of that. So try to limit the use of that phrase, I'm sorry. The next practical way to build self-confidence is to have your own dreams and goals and compete with the self that you were before. I'll expand on that. A lot of the times, what lead people to having less confidence is they compare themselves to someone else. Someone else that might be doing better in the thing, whatever it is that they want to achieve. Someone else who in a far greater position as they perceive it. And then they look at themselves and think, I'm not like that. I wish I could be like that. And then it becomes a thing of, they then think in order for them to come across as confident, they have to be exactly like that other person. I'm here to tell you that you can never be like that other person. That person that you're looking up to and you're admiring, you can never be like them or even better than them, because they are the only people who can truly be themselves, because they are the combination of the behaviors, the actions, the belief, the experiences, all of those unique things that makes them them. They are the only person that can be that like that. But here's the good thing. You are the only person that can also be the best version of you. And nobody can be you. Only you can be you. You are uniquely created with all of your experiences, your thoughts, what is great about you, your gifts. That makes you unique. Therefore, what you really should be competing for is the version of you that you want to become. And yes, you can take inspiration from people, but you're not trying to be somebody else. You value who you are at your core. That is if you know who you are at your core. And again, a lot of time, confidence issues comes from people not really knowing who they are at their core. You can ask them basic information like, what are you good at, what are you not good at? They can't even answer that. So if you don't know who you are at your core, you need to do a lot of work to know who you are, what you value, what's important to you. What are your dreams? What are your goals? What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? When you know that and you know where you want to go, who you want to become, you set goals for yourself, you work on it, you begin to achieve it, that will help to build your confidence. So you need to be strategic about your confidence building. Set you some small goals. Let's say, for example, in the next few months, your goal when it comes to confidence building is interacting with other people. Maybe you find it's very anxiety provoking to interact with people. But when you say to yourself, I want to work on this, so I'm going to start going into putting myself into uncomfortable situations, that's going to help me to develop this skill. And that's another thing that confident people do. They put themselves in situations that may make them slightly uncomfortable, just so that they can develop a particular skill that they want. Because sometimes in order to grow, you have to step out of your comfort zone. And of course, as human beings, we automatically avoid that because we don't want anything that may provoke anxiety in us. But sometimes that place is where your growth lies. That place that you're avoiding, that's where your growth lies. So maybe now, just go and sit in a coffee shop. There's people walking around you. It's not like 50 billion people all around you, but just being in a coffee shop, being in an environment where there's people. Once you get used to that, then you work your way up to maybe a restaurant. And you go with somebody, and you have to interact. And then you work your way up to that. So you get closer and closer to people. You get more and more confident to a place maybe one day where somebody can invite you to a social gathering. You can go there. You don't really know people, but you're also able to build friends. That's just an example of how you can start small and work your way up into becoming the person you want to become. If you never try to put yourself in situations that are slightly, mind you, I didn't say throw yourself into the deep ocean in order to build this confidence. I'm saying start very, very small and work your way up. That way you will build it. And remember, where you're working your way up to is not up to that somebody else that you're looking up to, is up to the version of you that you want to become. So that when you get to that place, you're not still going to look at yourself and think, I'm not good enough because I'm not like her. No. You can look at your growth, where you've come from, and see that you've made an improvement. So you can be glad about the person you've become. That is why it's very important to have your own goals and have your own dreams. Because if your dreams is somebody else's dream and goal, you might not ever get there. The next way to build self-confidence is to seek Allah's help from the whispers of shaitan. Sometimes self-confidence and self-esteem gets a hit because there is constant negative self-talk. That negative self-talk, I would argue that a lot of it is the whispers of the shaitan. I would argue so. And so it is necessary that you always ask Allah to protect you from the whispers of shaitan, and that you do your best in terms of upholding your parts of this bargain of you being in this world, which is making sure you are fulfilling your acts of worship. Make sure you're praying. Make sure you're fasting in Ramadan. Make sure you're giving zakat. Make sure you go to Hajj if you have the means. Make sure you're doing at least the basics that you need to do in your faith. Make sure you're not doing anything related to shirk. Make sure you try to stay away from sin and stay away from harming others. All these things are very, very important. Why? Because when we engage in goodness, we will usually have angels around us. And when angels are around you, it's very difficult for shaitan to take over your mind. So it's very important to stay in the constant remembrance of Allah, so that shaitan doesn't have as much will over you like that in order to kind of get into your head and keep negative self-talking. Because of the more of that negative self-talk that you do, the more those thoughts become beliefs, and your beliefs then show up in your actions. And then it goes back into the cycle again. And then the actions reinforces the thought, and then the thoughts goes into the belief, and the belief goes into actions, and you're just going around in circles. So if you find that you're having issues with confidence, internal work needs to be done. And one of those is that you should always try to stay as close to Allah as possible. Always be in the remembrance of Allah so that Allah can protect you, and ask Allah to protect you from the evil whispers of shaitan so that it limits those negative self-talks. The sixth way that you can improve self-confidence is to project your voice when you speak. It doesn't mean to shout. Interestingly, I did theatre studies as one of my A levels. And they would always say to some people, project your voice, no, start shouting. And then our drama teacher will be like, a theatre studies teacher, she would be like, no, I didn't say shout, I said project your voice. So projecting your voice is making your voice more heard. It might increase volume a little bit, but you're not shouting. This might be quite helpful to women who are very used to kind of talking in this kind of way, and it's like this. That does not demonstrate confidence. As you can see in the difference in the way I was speaking just a few seconds ago and the way I'm speaking now, I'm coming across very much confident now. So projecting your voice when you speak can help to build confidence a lot. Another way that you can also build confidence is just to become more competent in whatever it is you're feeling less confidence about. I teach psychology A-level, and this is one of the things that studies have proven. And so I teach this to my students. One of the things you can do to increase confidence is to be more competent at what it is that you're not feeling confident about. So let's just take a very basic examples of like academia, right? So if, for example, you're feeling less confident in maths, well, how can you improve that? Study more, practice more, learn more. The more you practice and get things right and you learn to correct your mistakes, the more confident you will become the next time. So again, it goes back to doing what feels initially uncomfortable, but because you have practice, you have a goal to improve and you practice, the more you improve, the more you begin to feel like, I think I can do this actually. And then you do it more and more and more and more. It becomes a confirmation in your mind and you begin to, again, believe it. And then you become more confident. So I highly recommend that you practice this and you put this into place. The last point that I would like to make in terms of building self-confidence is to prioritize self-care. And I'm not just talking about self-care like, painting your nails and whatever else women do these days, taking bubble baths, but just to prioritize your well-being, okay? Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling today? If you're feeling emotional, there's things that make you feel happy. As long as it's halal, you're not hurting anybody, you can afford it, whatever it is, do it for you. Do it for you because it's part of your self-care. A lot of times we invest in other people, but we're not willing to invest in ourselves. And really, the way you should look at it is, my cup needs to be almost full because before I can help somebody else. It might not be 100% full, but it needs to be quite full enough to where I'm feeling okay before I can be of aid to someone else. So take your self-care, seriously, okay? Check in with yourself. Make sure you're having me time. Make sure you're having quiet time. In this very busy world that we're living, we're always talking to people, we're always engaging, we're always watching social media. Sometimes it's just nice to just sit in silence. Just sit in silence and just go in nature. There's so many different things you can do to take care of your well-being, your self-care. So I would say whatever it is that you value, that feels important to you, that gives you, peace of mind and care, makes you feel important, do that for you. Ironically for me, working is part of my self-care because I value my independence as well as I do value being a part of a family. So funny enough, me just sitting here and being able to record this video to you guys, it does a lot for my well-being because then I can go home and I miss my daughter already, but then I can go home and just love on her more because I've had that bit of time just for me to have adult conversations with other adults on social media. So those are the things that I value. But I also value family time and having time with my daughter, just me and her alone, just like her father values having time with her. So whatever it is that makes you feel good, you know, and it's good to do, right to do, I think do that for you, because you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Okay, my sisters, those are some of the tips that I have for you in terms of how to build up your self-confidence. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please share this video with other sisters, because a lot of us might not talk about this, but this might be something we struggle with, you know, and we might not open up to other people about. So just share this video with any other sister. You never know, they may also benefit from today's content. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have anything else to add, please leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And also watch this video that I made a couple of days ago if you haven't seen it already. And inshallah, I will see you guys over there. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.